Welcome, 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 ladies, to day number 9 of 12 Days of Craftmas. Today we are going to be creating a beautiful ornament. We're using a wooden base. I found these wooden bases at Dollarama. I think they came in a package of 4. And we're going to be using this to create our ornament today. So I started by taking white gesso and just painting the front of the ornament. I left the wooden side. I really liked that burnt brown edge, so I didn't do that. You can do the back if you like, but I did not. I left it just natural looking with the burnt edges. So I started painting white gesso, and then my original sample, I used some of Tim Holtz texture paste, the sparkle. It worked really well. I really like the outcome. So it's just a paste that has some sparkle in it, and when it dries, it's clear and just has a really nice glittery sparkle to it. And when I applied it, I just used my palette knife and just kind of pounced it a bit to get it on the ornament. The one I'm going to be working with today, I tried something different. I took some opaque grit paste and just kind of spread it on there. No, sorry, not grit paste, texture paste, just a texture paste, and just kind of sprinkled or spread it across the ornament. And then I took my rock candy glitter and I added the glitter. So it just creates, it's similar, very similar, but the glitter is definitely glitter. It's more glittery. So, I mean, just to give you some different options on what you can use if you don't have the sparkle texture paste, you can use the rock candy glitter. So, just to get started, we have something that we need to let dry. We're going to do our crackle paste on the poinsettias. So I have these 2 poinsettias, which I do have some of these in the shop. So if you go to the website, I have some of these poinsettias. These ones you can purchase. Actually, I think I'm going to use crackle. Let's do the opaque crackle, so the white crackle. So just take some on the back of your palette knife, and I have to say, when I did this originally, I looked at it and I'm like, oh yeah, no, I really don't like that. I was going to do something different. And then when it was all done, I really liked the outcome. I really loved the look that it gave. I'll add a little crackle to the stems there in the middle. So just like that, we're going to set those to the side, and I'm hoping that they will be dry by the time we are ready to assemble. So just like that, a little bit of texture, crackle texture paste on there. The other place that we're going to add some paste is on our little wooden, actually I need that, I just want to get this out of the way. I have these little wooden houses, and I wanted them black, and the quickest and easiest way to get them black is to spray them with some black soot. Make sure mine kind of splatters, so I make sure I've got nothing around that can get colored. And then I'm just taking them and just rubbing them in the stain so that they're completely covered. And we'll just set them off to the side. The stain does kind of make a mess. So we'll clean that up, and I am going to just dry those so I can add the paste, the texture paste to them So that also has a chance to dry by the time we're okay. So for this, we're going to use just the grit paste, opaque grit paste. So it's just kind of gritty, and we're gonna make it look like there's snow on the rooftop. So that's one, set it to the side. All right. Cute. So we'll set those off to the side. Oh, I had another background that I tried was crackle that I did for one too. I like it. I had too much paste. There was more paste in the middle, as you can see the larger crackles that are there. I like the smaller crackles, so if I was to do it again, I would definitely do a thinner paste and do more of a crackle. But I do really like the shimmer. I like the glitter on here, even though I'm not a glitter person. I do like the glitter. So let's get started on creating our ornament. So I'm using some aged brass wax from Prima. Just gonna add a little bit on the tip of my finger, and I'm going to color the top portion. We're gonna give it a metallic look on the top of our ornament. And I'm just using my finger, and you can see I'm just kind of squishing a little bit of the tube out here and then just popping my finger on the top to get a little bit on my finger. And I'm just being careful to only get it on that little metal part. Then I'm going to add some around the edges. So this I want to do very carefully because I don't want a heavy amount. I just want to give it just a little bit of shimmer around the edge. Just a little. There, just like that. Okay, so we'll set that aside. So like I've done in previous videos, we have our greenery leaves on here. And I've used the slime infusions, which you can find in the shop. They are available. So I've done this background with some slime, and would normally, I already have them ready. I've gone and I've cut out some of the green that I wanted, the little sprigs, but I also want some darker that are going to be just so that they pop a little bit more. I want some darker pieces that are in there. So the way that I will do that is just by taking some of my walnut, putting it on my craft mat, going back to the old basics and I'll just go into the green and add layers of brown. Now it's gonna, just like normal, it's gonna take a bit of time. I'm not gonna hold you up on that part, but I started with the green, and then I'll just continue and add more brown on top of there to get it more grungy and brown looking. This is the outcome of what I ended up with after I was done adding layers and layers of brown. I think I maybe even added some scorched timber in there just to darken it up a bit too. So then I've already cut out a couple of those pieces and a couple little leaf pieces. Okay, so now it's basically just assembly. How I started, because of all these little pieces and there's lots of little bits that we're adding in here, I found it easier to create little sections of the leaves so that it was easier to attach a section than it was the individual pieces. So I'm just going to layer, these little leaf die cuts. One's going to be a little higher than the other. So then I've got a nice section that I can use to attach. And then the same for the other side. Doing the exact same. And again, one's a little higher, one's a little lower. And I only, if you noticed, I only put glue down at the bottom because I want those to have a little bit of movement. Okay, so we have those ready. We have these. I've also done just some white little, I have a punch that does these little white sprig. And we're going to tuck those in there as well. I have some houses that I had done earlier. My flowers, which I hope will be ready when we get to that point. Okay, so now we're going to start attaching on here. Now, I know I've used this in another one of my videos. This is that stuff. I do not know what it's called. I spent some time this morning trying to find what it is. I don't know. I love it. I've had it for a long time, and I apologize that I don't know what it's called. I do remember I found it on Etsy. It's some kind of fiber. I don't know. I don't know what it's called. So if anybody does know what this is, the name of it, if you have an idea, please share it. I would love to share it with customers, because I know I've had people ask me what this stuff is, and I honestly, I don't remember. I've had it for so long and I don't remember. It was a weird name, very weird name that they called it. So to start attaching, I'm using the heavy body gel because of course we're working on texture, and we've got a bunch of different layers, and our regular adhesive will not work for this. So we're going to start with this cool stuff, and I'm just pressing that into, and I'll go back and I'll probably cut off some of that in a bit. And then I have 3 pieces of my jute, and I'm gonna just leave myself a bit of a tail and make a bow. And you're gonna have to just kind of tweak it and play with it until you get the size that you want. And then I always just pull at least one. I don't want them all the same. I want them slightly different. I don't want all 3 loops to be all the same. So then that's gonna go in there, and we'll trim that. And that's just gonna go right close to the edge. Over a little bit, right in there somewhere. Okay, Now it's our little leaf sections, and these dies that I have, you can, depending on what you're working with, I would definitely lay it all out and just make sure that everything, my poinsettias aren't quite dry, but I'm still gonna, so they're gonna go in there. And then the little houses are gonna go in there. So you can see that the ends of my leaves are going right at the base of the bow. So again, working with the heavy body gel. And again, I'm only gluing at the base, at the bottom, because I want to be able to have movement, and I also want to be able to tuck. And we're just working around that bottom edge of the ornament. Now, which ones did I'm gonna tuck in one of my houses, and I want it one higher than the other. So I think something like that shall work. And again, this dries clear, so I'm not worried about, actually I say that and then I'm like, I just want to get rid of a little bit of that. It's gonna smoosh. It's gonna smoosh out as soon as I cute. Okay. I'm gonna tuck in some of my white leaves now. Have him peeking in between the two of them. I like the contrast of the white. I like this adhesive too because it gives me time to play, that I can tuck these pieces and go underneath bits and pieces. It's not an instant, it's not gluing it instantly in place. Then some of the little brown one. I'm just tucking him under that house ever so slightly. The great thing about this too is that we're going to be adding some of the little art stones, and so if there's any ends that I want to cover up that I don't want to see, look at how sweet that is. So for the time of the video, I am adding these flowers. They are still just a smidge damp, but for the video, I'm gonna keep going. So look at how sweet that is. Now, to finish it off, we are adding some of the Prima art stones. So those are little, cute little balls in 2 different sizes. I've had these forever. I know I do have some of the regular size art stones in the shop that you can purchase. I don't think I have any minis at the moment. So I grabbed some of my heavy body gel, and then I always go into the big ones first, and then fill it up with the little ones, and then you just smoosh. And I say smoosh by, I just kind of smoosh them in place wherever I want to add. And I want them on the greenery, I want them on the house, I want them on the poinsettias. But you need a generous amount of the adhesive, because even though you can see that it's mucky and you can see it there, when it dries, you don't notice it at all, but you need it to adhere these little art stones. It needs that. If you don't have that adhesive in there, they won't stick. They'll just fall off. Once the adhesive dries, they'll just fall off. And you don't want that. So I'll just leave some loose up there. Tuck some in here. And you just move and manipulate them wherever you would like them. We'll add a few more in here. Maybe some stragglers. Maybe some in there. Okay, so that's it for that. I'm just going to put my brush in some water. Make sure you clean it out really well, because it is adhesive that we're working with. So I always take it and clean it with some soap. Make sure it's good and clean with soap. And then the last thing is just a title. And I have this sticker book from Tim Holtz. And I really like the red. So maybe we'll do Silent Night on this one. And I have some old Fisker scissors, old Fisker scissors that I've kept around because they work great just to give a little dimension on the end. And then again, because I'm adhering onto the glitter, I'm adding some adhesive on there because I want this to stick. Make sure it's straight. And then to finish it off, you could add whatever you want to the top. If you had some really pretty ribbon, maybe you have some gold ribbon. I'm just using a piece of jute. And just tying the ends together so that you can hang it. So there you go. This beautiful ornament. I think I'm going to make these for my coworkers, and I'm going to attach them to their gift because I usually try to make them an ornament every year. And I think this is the winner. This is going to be the one. So thank you, ladies. Can't wait to see you tomorrow. Take care.